course, AI has infused everything, even the energy industry. I'm here at the CERAWeek by S&P Global Conference in Houston, Texas. AI is on that list. And so my next guest, perfect to talk about this issue, that's Matt Babin. He's head of energy and natural resources at Palantir. Matt, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So I was talking off camera with someone earlier today who said he felt that the energy industry was perhaps not as far along when it comes to AI as perhaps some other industries. Would you agree with that assessment? Why? And kind of how do you get them up to speed?
Yeah, I think I disagree with that assessment, actually. Maybe we take contrarian takes to a lot of things at Palantir, but I think the energy industry has been using artificial intelligence and machine learning for over a decade. They've just been using it in a different way than we're speaking of it right now. If you think of things like deterministic models and reservoir simulations, high performance computing centers, the energy industry has been using that technology for a long time. What I think is interesting is the proliferation of speed of development of what we're seeing now in large language models, in Gen AI pieces, is causing the energy industry to think of using technology differently, right? I think the energy industry moves sometimes on longer cycles, right? A boom or bust of the commodity takes 3 or 4 years. Procurement can take a year. Information security reviews can take 6 months. In the last year, we've had GPT-4, Turbo, Vision, Aramco announcing MetaBrain. That's 4 huge large language models, all in the space of one procurement cycle. And so where I think the energy industry can move faster is sort of experimenting and adopting some of these new technologies in an accelerated fashion.
How do they do?
Yeah.
How is Gen AI specifically going to be, pertinent to them or helpful to them?
Yeah, I think it'll be different for different companies, and I think that's probably the first big trap, is that some people are looking at AI as a tool and then finding a problem. And I think the companies that are doing this successfully are finding a particular problem they want to solve and then looking to technology as a lever to do that. So perhaps that's that you want to reduce your power consumption in the field, or you want to better track your emissions profile and mitigation. You want to have fewer suppliers or fewer supply chain interruptions. Those are all great places where you can use AI and machine learning and bound models to solve problems, but that all starts with finding the right problem rather than just...
So, he was talking about AI and having a solution for the problem. And I thought, chaos to bring order. Okay. And then he said something else that caught my attention. And he was saying that it was about speed and being fast and, and it's always, I was thinking about China. They always claim China. They got to beat China. Everybody wants to beat China. And I was thinking, of course, AI has been part of the electricity or energy industry because a lot of people have those new boxes which pulsate dirty energy, which pulsate energy that breaks down DNA, which causes headaches and literally causes you not to be able to stay in your home without feeling overwhelmed in the middle of the night. I've experienced this. It's almost like there's a force that comes with this AI technology in the unseen that a lot of people are like, well, I don't believe that there's an unseen world because I'm alive and well. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter whether or not you believe in whatever or don't believe in whatever. It's not about the supernatural in that regard. It's about understanding energy. Now, as he was talking about the cycles, the electrical cycles he was speaking of, and I was catching some things he was saying. He was talking about fast and being, first and doing things. And they're, okay, yes, companies that go out here and they're looking for a solution to a problem. What he's saying is, you may have to create a problem to get an actual solution. And sometimes it may take 6 months, a year, another year or so before we figure out, we shouldn't have used this technology. But it's all about being the fastest. Now, I was looking at the background, which is purple. The lady has on purple and pink as well. And I was thinking, interesting how purple means transition. Purple is one of the main positions in a world of energy that has to do with your love, has to do with peace. Now, they're color coding, and this color coding, for those people who are watching this who don't understand what color code is, I'm talking about this today. This video is supposed to be an EWG video. However, I'm going to transition it into even talking about why AI is trying to get into programming people's personalities, even using AI for the star technology, for so-called the ether technology, being in the ether above us, not so much outer space, because outer space is outer lands past the ice walls, but we won't go into that because I'm going to use this video for all 3 channels, so I have to talk in a way that can be understood by those who watch my home life, and then those who watch my intent explaining. Okay, so behind him he has, let's talk back to the lady. She has on the purple, and like I said, purple and pink has everything to do with the highest level of coding, programming, like television, tell a lie to your vision, television. Okay, so they use color codes in order to awaken some aspect of your intellect or your mind, your subconscious. And in that, they can transition it into a cylindrical cycle of almost like make you almost robotic, trigger you. You know how sometimes you're okay, then you see something and it triggers you. I'm learning now that when you watch something and it triggers you, okay, talk about the situation. What is the situation? Do almost look like a reptilian. Oh my goodness, but anyway, I don't want to look too hard. Because I'm blending this information this morning. So she has on purple. She's the host. He has on black and white, which is duality, which is like what the Hollywood rappers and singers like Beyonce and Cardi B and a whole bunch of them, they use black and white. So they're doing the lowest frequency, which is black and white, to divide. Over his shoulders a 5, which is 5 is half of 10, which is 10 is the beginning and the end. If I'm speaking over your head, understand this has nothing to do with magic. This has nothing to do with so-called spirituality. This has everything to do with living inside of a simulated construct and understanding what this thing entails. And there are those of us who pay attention to life and live life at the same time. I pay attention to life and I live life in order to keep myself secured from danger seen and unseen. You know, my grandma used to say, baby, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Now I'm older and I realize that's correct. But I don't wrestle at all. What I do is I stand in who I be. So, love you, grandmother. But yes, there are principalities and powers and kings and rulers of low frequency that I don't wrestle against anybody. So that's the only aspect of what my grandma would say, or my granddaddy even would say, that I'm sort of kind of aware of, that I don't have to wrestle with anybody. You know, I don't have to wrestle with flesh and blood. I don't have to wrestle against principalities, but I do understand that there are those who choose to. I choose not to. I choose to navigate around them, outsmart them, know their mess, and not allow their mess to mess with me and those folks that listen to me. So behind me is a 5. A 5 is actually, if you look at your hand, that's a doorway. 5 is a doorway. When they talk about the mark in the right hand, 5 is half of you. 5. That's an entrance point. 2 5s would be whole of you, because that would be a 10, which would be 1 and 0, which is beginning and end off to the tooth. But anyway, we see here there's actually a broken infinity cycle. So the cycle will be broken, but they're opening up a doorway with the AI. So there will be a doorway open to come into our loop. And I'm assuming this may have to do with the moon eclipse. The eclipse is going to happen on April the 8th, or a little bit prior to that. And those of us who are aware need to be aware. I'm not talking about any particular group. I'm talking about individually speaking. Be aware that know their game so that their game won't fool you. Know their game. This thing over here, upside down pyramid with an all-seeing eye. Now it looks like some type of, actually looks like some type of DNA. However, I'm not going to go into all that. But understand that these people be tripping. Okay, these people be tripping, and you better know their game. If you don't know their game, they can play their game on you. So there's actually, I'm supposed to deal with people who are under the programming of the Gemini today, and that's how I deal with the what is it? The zodiacs. I deal with the zodiacs in a way where I'm trying to explain to you how to navigate away from your programming, how to, inside of this constructed matrix, how to ensure that though you're born under a certain energy, and you came down a certain path to get here during a certain month, you cannot allow those things to be, that pathway to be your doorkeeper, your gateway. You just can't do it. So it says, welcome to Gemini era. And it talks about, you want to talk to Gemini. Oh, the Gemini's ecosystem represents Google's most capable AI. Our Gemini models are built from ground up for multi-modality or modality, reasoning seamlessly across text, images, audio, video, and code. I've been talking about code this whole time. Please understand, when I say code and they say code, they're talking about code, and it can be DNA code as well. Videoing, audioing, so they're seeing you, listening to you, taking images of you, and they code that. And they code it across all textual lines. Here goes, I got so many cats that come in my yard during this season because I have it decorated. It's just funny. They just love being out there. So, of course, he's talking and he's explaining, and they're all, oh, this is so great. This is so wonderful. However, you have to understand a lot of these people, some are innocent, but there are some who are reincarnated. And if you don't believe in reincarnation, then you don't believe that people can be born again. And that's what reincarnation actually is, on a level where it's not a specific gyron that you're believing in. It's just, that's the system. If you're in this certain gyron, they call it being born again. If you're in this gyron, they call it reincarnation. If you're in this gyron, they call it purgatory. So, yeah. And you have to, for yourself, not be in those gyrons. You have to free yourself in the mind from the programming of the AI. So let's deal with the Gemini this morning. And normally I just talk, but this was quite interesting. She's doing a Masonic thing here as well. Lucy is. And she's got some of the same colors that the AI, the news video we saw earlier. So it talks about the personality that Gemini explained. So this was March 1st, 2024. So let's see what this is saying. And I want to decode it. So it talks about Gemini being born May 21st to June 20th. Now understand, this time frame is the programming cycle. So when you come to this realm of existence and you're born between this time, there is a code inside of this game called life that we live in. And you have to understand that Geminis are programmed mainly the same way, pretty much to be a certain kind of servant, or a certain kind of slave, or a certain kind of worshiper. And though a lot of us have a lot of similarities, all the different so-called signs that we pass by as we're entering into this world, because there are signs on the gateway that we pass through, and you pass through a certain gateway, and in that gateway, this is how you come to the earth, and this is how they try to ensure your programming stays. So let's listen to what it's saying. It says, have you ever been so busy that you wish you could clone yourself just to get everything done? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that this person uses clone yourself? Now, of course, I'm sure the Gemini has its duality to it, its double-sidedness to it. But let's move on. Clone yourself. This is the genome. I was talking about the video the other day. My husband and I we did a whole hour and something video just sitting down discussing what's in our heads about this information we know. Uh, Knowledge definitely is power, and knowledge also is a way to crush fear. You want to crush fear? Deal with knowledge, then deal with the knowledge of not being afraid of the knowledge. You got to get the knowledge, because if you don't know the knowledge, when something happens, you can be afraid, or you're going to be depending and looking for someone to save you or help you. And when the help doesn't exactly come the way you want it to come, you expect it to come another way. A lot of people lose their way, and lose their way when it comes to peace, lose their way when it comes to joy. Let's continue. That's the Gemini experience in a nutshell. So earlier in the video, I was talking about the shell, the Khalifa, that the Jewish people in their matrix, they talk about how we are all just shells, and I call it just the avatar. But they are saying that most people are just gorim, they're beasts, they're animals. So they believe that in a nutshell, you're nothing. Okay, here go another cat. They love the decorations in the yard. Interesting. You have a yellow cat now. I don't know what color this cat is, but he's stopping in the middle of the road looking. We got a whole bunch of pretty lights out there and stuff. They love that kind of stuff. Okay, that sounds like I'm off kilter, but no, I'm always aware of what's going on my monitors, because I got like 4 or 5 monitors, and I'm always just aware. So to clone yourself sounds like to have a dual personality, okay, like bipolar. I'm not saying Geminis are bipolar. I'm just saying that you have to get yourself settled in the middle, because you very well could have an imbalance of behavior more so than other people, and that is your programming, without me even going to what's the personality of a Gemini. I'm just deciphering what this is saying. It also says that appropriately symbolized by celestial twins, this air sign was interested in so many pursuits that it had to double itself. So you see what I'm saying? The Gemini doubling itself. So many people looking at how to manipulate the Gemini, and the Gemini being the black and the white, like the man had the suit on, the black and the white, you being super good but then super bad at times, or you're always bad but then you have those moments of greatness. You're like 2 personalities. There are other personalities that can fit this a little bit, and that could be like Cancer. It fits that role too, the programming. However, that's the side of you that you have to break, and for all zodiac programming, every zodiac programming you have to acknowledge what path they put you on. Those who claim you have a contract, what path they say you got put on, and get yourself free from anything that's obligational that you don't even recall. And even if you do recall, you can still count yourself out of it, because you want to be a free being, a free eternal being, not a groupthink being. Okay, though we're one, we still have to be a free being, because if not, then you're just part of a program that you will perpetually be coded. So let's continue to look at the Gemini, because I think for sure this is what AI is playing into. This is what they're using AI to play into. They're using energy, and they, of course, they can bring down the grid anytime they want to, and they'll say, oh, like he said, oh, well, we were trying to be innovative, we were trying to move fast, and sometimes we got to cause chaos to get order, or sometimes we got to cause a problem to see what a solution can be, or sometimes there is a solution, but we got to cause a problem in order to see how to fix the problem that we didn't think was going to occur. This is just how these people are. They're all about trying to figure out how to shake you up, how to ruin your decade, your era, so that you can stay in a frequency or a spirit of gloominess, a spirit of fear, a spirit of unsound mindness. And we just can't have that. And this is the reason why I'm out here. And this is the reason why sometimes my videos have no views, because it may have 7 or 8 comments down there with people talking to each other. However, on the top of it, it'll say there's no view. No one's viewing this video. That's why I know my videos. I don't worry about making money on YouTube. I am out here for free. I spend my life for free. Never will I need YouTube to give me anything. I'm not that kind of person. I have my times where I definitely have been spied on for a long time, and I'm like, oh hey, how y'all doing? Oh, I see y'all. Oh, okay, I see you too. Do y'all see me? I'm looking at y'all. They probably say this damn woman got cameras everywhere. Yes, 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 yes. Not because of fear, but because I'm on my game. And my husband laughs because he says there's internal cameras and then there's outer cameras, meaning they're not even on the same system, this and then other things. So we have to be that way, because when you're ex-military, you're ex uh, city leadership or whatever, you have to be on your game. And then there have been times where I've had to represent entire towns, based on who I be, and I've had to go places to stand in for entire towns and cities and stuff like that, and speak out and advocate for, and never make the news and nothing like that, because that's not what I'm about. I'm about sincerity. And in sincerity, you will not blow up. Your channel will not blow up, because a lot of people aren't about enduring and being sincere. But let's continue with the Gemini. And Gemini, please understand that everything that I'm saying can still fit in your programming, because you have to understand that you got to get about understanding the division within you. Okay? Because of Gemini's intrinsic duality, there you go. See, I never read this article, but I know about the Gemini. They're often falsely misrepresented as two faces. Now, the reason why this person would say falsely misrepresented as two-faced, people think that the Gemini can't keep their word. Their word isn't their bond. It's not that. It's two frequencies. And you have to be really careful not to get into the AI stuff, Gemini. Just don't allow yourself to get in front of a phone that got 5G and above, or even 4G, and think somehow if you stay on that phone all day that it won't mess with your pineal gland. It won't mess with your mind. It won't mess with your inner self. Your as they call it, the third eye. Your intuition. The third eye thing sounds spooky. It's just everybody talks differently. Depends on what culture you're from or what land you're from. But in every facet or gyring, a lot of time people talk about the same thing, they just use different language. And some people's language is more freer, and some people's language is more conservative, because they don't want to seem like they're similar in any regard. Okay, it says falsely misrepresented as two-faced. So you are two and faced. However, you're not you're not backstabbing. You're just dealing with things inside of yourself often enough where sometimes it leaves room for people to think that there's two of you. And be very careful also that when you're using it, I would say don't use the AI technology, or if you do, don't ask for assistance from it, because you don't want this technology, this energy, to maybe try to house itself in you. So don't give permission to AI things when you're doubled in the program, because that may be a doorway to go between the two fives and break that infinity cycle. Which, I mean, breaking the cycle be great, but you don't want to break it where there's a doorway or entrance to the works of, they say darkness, but I say the works of low frequency, low spirit, low, just debasing, deplorable, saddened, depressive energy. You know what I'm saying? Because that energy is depressed and saddened and has misled itself for a long time in many facets. You have to be really careful, Gemini. And the rest of us do too, but Gemini, please hear me out. It says in reality, our Gemini really has a hidden agenda. No, right. Geminis are programmed to just um, become all things for all people. Okay? And, there's a writing of Saul turned to Paul where he talks about um, becoming all things to all people, but that had an agenda behind it. It was to win people over to a certain set or belief system. However, I would say the hidden agenda, of course, isn't there. A lot of times, Geminis probably aren't even thinking that deep. I'm not saying you're not deep people, but most programs for the Geminis are so conflicted that they're just glad that they're getting up in the morning having a good day, and they're just glad that you know they're not this morning waking up saying, what is going on in my life? Why does it seem like my life is out of my hands, out of control? That's when you have to say, oh, it's a program going on. And I'm sure you're glad you're hearing my video this morning. So it says playful and intellectually curious. Gemini is constantly juggling a variety of passions, hobbies, careers, and friend groups. So it's not that you're a people pleaser because you really can't please anybody, but the program wants you to be part of groupthink, and groupthink is very dangerous because groupthink will cause you to want to find out what's the latest in TikTok and follow that. What's the latest on Instagram and follow that? What's the latest? What's the latest? You're never living in your own head. You're living in other people's head. Or you're living in what the algorithm says, what the AI is saying. You have to be very careful not to follow. Um, just don't lay yourself down to your programming. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Hobbies, careers, and passions. Yes, you can spend time inside of this game called life, um, uh, enjoying having a career, enjoying friends, enjoying your hobbies, enjoying your passions, maybe skiing or maybe golfing or maybe gaming. However, please understand that you don't have a lot of victory when you're overloading yourself, because when you overload yourself, Gemini, remember your zodiac sign comes to a pathway that's about control. The program is about controlling you. And the more they bring in AIs, the Gemini era, the more they bring in the double era. See what I'm saying? The Gemini era, the cloning era, the air sign era. Everything's going to be in the air. The power of the air. Well, we know the power of the air. If I'm not mistaken, the power of air was in Leo. But I'll go look into that. That's the Old Testament deity that the Israelites serve, and they don't tell you the name because they say YHWH, but that's actually Enlil. Go look into it, Gemini. Anybody else that's listening? So let's go on. It says right here that they are the social butterflies of the zodiac. I don't even like the idea of them even calling Geminis butterflies, because butterflies are like monarch butterflies, meaning that uh, cocooning, transforming, the purple, the blue. Yes, you can be transformative. And I think for Geminis, if Gemini would see that they're inside this game programmed to be split, to be light, to be dark, you would get about breaking that program. There's another little cute cat I see coming by those lights. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it'd be some of the biggest and prettiest cats. And I think a lot of these owners let their cats out at night, or they have those little animal doors. I don't know why I'm literally still intrigued with how they just are intrigued with these colorful lights. So, it's just me being a Leo. That's probably part of my programming, where I notice things like a lion, especially these cats. But anyway, like I said about the butterflies, just be mindful. Butterflies are beautiful. However, they only last so long, if they're not careful. You know. These quick-witted twins can talk to anyone about anything. That's what I'm saying. In your programming, the more you're designed to be dual, the more likely, yes, you are innovative. You can come in and you can be the leader over the meeting. However, you still find yourself exhausted at the end of the day because people do pull on you too much because of your innovativeness, because your openness, because you can be two-faced, because you can deal with the one nobody likes and you can deal with the quiet one nobody talks to. Okay, and that's just part of the programming that you're gonna have to figure out how to balance yourself. No one can balance you, and that's the trick of the trade. We come here and they tell us pick a god, any god, pick a big G, pick a little g. However, that's part of the programming. And people say, well, I like that programming. I don't argue with you like any programming you want to like. All I'm saying is understand it's part of the programming. When you look at the Illuminati pyramid, you'll see that religion's on the pyramid, and that's not by accident. And it has nothing to do with one group is worse than the other group. This this old Roman group is something we should protest against. No, they're all on the same umbrella. But inside of these constructed uh, group think houses, there are always people in these houses who are learning what they can learn, and then they move on. I would say, you know, when you walk through the doors of tradition of man, whether it's in spirituality or not Gemini, whether it's righteous or not Gemini, understand that it's a program, it's part of the system. And the game is to keep you so distracted that you never look within. And yeah, it you would have to go between the two to look within. But remember, we have an intuition, the third eye, and that will balance the Gemini in this program. And of course, for everyone, it'll help. But Gemini, you definitely need it, like most definitely, to pay attention to your life. Make notation of your life. Write down stuff about your life. Write down patterns and sequences. I would advise all zodiacs. I need to cut this heater off. It is really whooping me up. I got a heater rotating behind me. These quick-witted twins can talk to anyone about anything. Find them buzzing between happy hour, dinner parties, and dance floors. So I'm gonna stop there with the Gemini because that's enough being said. Gemini, you will be very easily pulled into the AI system. That's why they say the Gemini era, because you have to be really careful. Be very careful because it's very unhealthy for you. It's very unhealthy for you. Of course, it's unhealthy for us all, but Gemini. They saying you two-faced in the program. They're literally drawing the pictures out. Please be mindful. But I do believe, Gemini, that as they say, leap forward, you'll understand that you don't have to please everybody. All right? I would say like. I would even say subscribe. I would say hit that bell. But I'm just glad you're watching. All right.